Hi guys, welcome to Westminster. Michael Heaver here.
Patrick Christie's here.
And thank you very much for choosing to spend your Valentine's Day with us. Patrick, have you had a Valentine's Day card yet?
No, not yet, but no one tends to love me that much anyway, so you see it's alright.
Well look, we'll give you guys plenty of love here as long as you jump in with some comments and tell us what you think, because that is what this is all about.
Nothing says romance like a good Westminster live stream, does it?
Share us the gift of your wisdom, your thoughts and your input as we talk about some of the big political issues of the day. And where else do you start but the blonde bombshell? Boris Johnson's dropped a Brexit speech. Patrick, what did you make?
I thought you were talking about Ulrika Johnson for a second there, Michael, but no, Boris Johnson. Boris Johnson has delivered a speech today on Brexit, and it's been an interesting intervention. We're going to go into it in a lot more detail, but basically he's ruled out the fact, as far as he's concerned, that there should ever be any kind of reversal of Brexit. He said, quote, "We will not let it happen." He also delved into talk about immigration and said that basically he thinks that Brexit is a chance for Britain to move away from this 20-odd years of largely uncontrolled migration that's seen low-skilled labour flood into the market and saturate the job market. He's talking about reshaping our economy, but at the same time not drawing up the drawbridge for immigrants. He's also said about global trade, how Britain can reshape its economy outside of the European Union. And in short, really, it's exactly the kind of speech you would maybe want a Prime Minister to be coming out and delivering a hopeful, positive vision for post-Brexit Britain.
And by the way, before we go back to this, I must just say, we've delivered you a lovely present. Because we've tarted ourselves up, dolled ourselves up, put on our Sunday best for Valentine's Day. The website, Westminster website now has been redone, looking absolutely marvellous, I'm sure you'll agree. There's the blonde bombshell on it himself. Yes, do go and visit westminster.com, and by the way, do support us with a like and a share and a retweet and all the rest of it if you love what we do, because we've got some big stuff coming up. But look, we asked you guys earlier on Twitter, what did you make of the Boris Johnson Brexit speech, yay or nay?
Well, what we got?
It's 84% yay, so we've got a few happy Brexiteers rolling around. I just read out some of the comments. Basically, Colin was saying, the thing about Boris, quite apart from actually being funny and likeable, even humble, and have I got news for you, all those years ago, he's actually very clued up on the subject. He's obviously got a fan there. Ian Kelly, leadership bid. And we've had a number of these comments about people seeing this potentially as Boris Johnson setting out his stall to potentially go for the Prime Minister's job eventually. And just another interesting one from Paul on Twitter, and do thank you very much for your tweets, by the way, guys. Paul's saying better than nothing after nearly 2 years. Now, from my perspective, guys, I certainly think that Brexiteers, Leave voters will welcome someone actually being a bit positive and trying to set out a vision. The other side of that, though, Nigel Farage has come out and said Boris has no plans and I suspect no intention of cutting your migration. Is it all a bit too vague still?
Well, this is because he talks, basically, Boris did go on a bit about the immigration side of things and talk about how we would like to think Britain could now reshape its immigration system that would mean it would become a high-wage, high-productivity economy as opposed to receiving in hundreds of thousands of people every year. But then when he was pressed on the specifics of it, easy for me to say, he couldn't give a figure. So he's obviously hamstrung a bit by his position. So I can see both sides of it. You know, if Boris is known to be a little bit of a slippery customer, is he someone that we can really back and take to the bank with what he said with regards to immigration? We don't know. But there was a quote here I'd like to read out to you about one of his speeches, which I thought was very good from him, saying Brexit is not nationalist but internationalist. People fear the disruption they associate with change, but Brexit is not un-British. It's a manifestation of this country's historic genius. And I think that's absolutely spot on.
We're going to go to a few Facebook comments in a minute, but just one more tweet that we had in the run-up to the show, basically from Mitch. Thank you very much for your tweet, Mitch, saying, yeah, but it's more of a leadership bid than a Brexit speech guaranteed. And I think that's the context of which people are looking at this speech. Is this Boris Johnson setting out his stall longer term and going for that top job eventually? But look, it's an interesting speech. It's interesting timing with everything that's going on. Of course, we at Westminster keep highlighting the fact that we're looking at this potential United States of Europe. And one man that was very quick to downplay any prospect of that, you can go and see this on westminster.com, Jean-Claude Juncker, straight out the traps, wasted no time whatsoever in reacting to Boris's speech, basically saying that I am strictly against European superstate. And by the way, this is Juncker, believe it or not, saying this.
Yeah.
I mean, I certainly don't believe him. I'm strictly against the United States, European superstate. We are not the United States of America. We are the EU. This is total nonsense. Now, what I've helpfully done on this article on Westminster.com,
well, our brand spanking new website,
brand spanking new, you know, hot off the shelves, is helpfully point out that he gave number one, he's an unelected so-called president, right? So any organisation that has presidents, political, I mean that's somewhat of a push towards centralised power, don't you think? And the fact is, this guy gave a State of the Union. I mean, it is Mickey Mouse, guys. It's completely Mickey Mouse, this whole setup. A State of the Union, as they do sort of in America, the US President, etc. And his State of the Union made a very big push on the fact that by 2025, and you can see the picture right there, guys, at the top, he actually gave his speech, and while he did it, you had EU soldiers that he wants running around on the actual picture. This is his vision. Very, very clear there, you know, what he's pushing for. And he even said by 2025 in this speech, we will need a functioning European Defence Union. If a functioning European Defence Union isn't United States of Europe, I don't know what is. If you've got an army, if you've got soldiers, if you've got the ability to intervene militarily,
and crucially, an unelected man prepared to lead you into battle,
it doesn't exactly scream sort of a loose alliance of cooperating nations, does it? When you start to have centralised military power. So of course it's a complete load of baloney, as it always is, coming out of Brussels. Stinks to high heaven. But guys, what do you think?
Marcus Fu agrees with you. Marcus, you're a Westminster regular. Pleasure to have you on the show, my good man. Say typical EU hypocrisy and arrogance. Someone just returning to the Boris thing for a second, Derek Gautry, whose name I've not seen pop up on our live streams before, so if you're a new person, thank you very much, Derek, saying yes, 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 Brexit, get on with it. Also, Brett Garside, basically being grateful that at least someone is coming out and giving a positive slant on Brexit. And I think that is it, isn't it? It's a damning indictment of where we are in British politics at the minute, that Boris's speech, which was frankly low on specific detail, can be viewed by some people as a bit of a barnstormer. That's testament to how pathetic and weak and poor the other speeches and other interventions have been to date. Guys,
we're going to move on to some other subjects now, but if you have any comments, as ever, do let us know and we'll read some of them out. If you're enjoying what we're doing, give us a retweet, give us a thumbs up on Facebook and all the rest of it. Lovely jubbly. But look, we like to put a smile on your face here at Westminster because there's a lot of good news out there. And I'm just going to highlight another story now. A Japanese bank, Sumitomo Mitsu, I hope I've got that right, probably not. Basically, Japanese bank, they've invested, and this is huge, guys. They are investing in, they're committing to a lease on a London headquarters in the city, Liverpool Street. 160,000 square foot of a new building, 3 floors of it, for on a 20-year basis, a 20-year lease. Now, I don't know about you, that doesn't exactly scream to me that all this talk about coming out of the customs union and the single market is scaling the bejesus out of these people, out of these banks, out of businesses. The investment is flowing in. People know what the blueprint is now in terms of Brexit, what people voted for, and you're seeing this investment slide in. And just the other day, and it's also linked in that story, Citigroup are setting up an innovation centre, where else but in good old Brexit London. So the investment is flowing, and this idea that there's going to, the Ramonas, they're still whinging, they're still sort of very upset, they haven't quite come to terms with the exciting global Brexit future that's awaiting us. But the fact is, if you look at investment, well, it's flowing, guys.
And David Storm, I really hope that your real surname is in fact Storm. You must be like a part-time X-Men character. I love it, David. Saying you rarely see this good news on the mainstream media. Why not? Well, hey, here we go. Also, Marcus chiming in. He'd hate to be George Osborne, hey? Well, I'm not sure because he's got 6 jobs and he's phenomenally wealthy, but I do take your point.
Yeah, but guys, if you're enjoying what we're doing, as ever, as I say, do give us a like, do give us a comment, do give us a retweet, do visit Westminster.com.
Share us, tell your friends.
Share us, because there's a hell of a lot more coming up from us in terms of these streams. But Patrick, we move now to another sector. I mean, are you much of an actor? I don't know.
Well, you could say the whole, my whole life's a performance, I think, Mike.
Well, there you go.
But the world's my stage.
But I mean, this is another interesting sector in terms of the Brexit debate.
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, we've got a group has emerged. Their group was formed, believe it or not, in a Wetherspoon, so you know it's good. It's a group called Artists for Brexit. And it includes people like John Cleese and people like that, Roger Daltrey, etc., etc. They are people in the performing arts community who are believers in Brexit. But the crucial thing is, the reason why they're forming this group is because they believe that actually if you are a Brexiteer in that particular genre of life, you are likely to lose out on work or be exiled by the kind of acting community or the artiste community, as it were. But I mean, that's odd, isn't it? Because supposedly these Ramonas are this big, tolerant, inclusive, lovely, fluffy group of people. But it turns out if you don't have the right kind of opinions, you're not allowed in.
I love the random comment on YouTube we've just got, by the way. Just 5 live are coming in. Anna Soubry is not a Conservative. Well, I mean, I think on that we can all agree.
Fair enough. Why not?
I just like the random comments we get here sometimes. Keep them coming.
Just a quick shout out to all our YouTube viewers, of course. Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, that's a very interesting. I like the whole idea being developed now that there's this sort of intolerance.
Well, this is it, isn't it?
There is an intolerance. These people scared to basically put their political views out there because they're worried about the backlash that they get in this sector, and it shows you the level of intolerance that's still being experienced by people simply for supporting independence for their nation.
This is
quite extraordinary.
One thing, as anyone who watches these shows regularly will know, one thing that I absolutely can't stand is hypocrisy, and I think no more is hypocrisy being brought to bear than in the acting community and the performing arts community. When you see at these Golden Globes and the awards like that, people are queuing up to try and describe themselves to be part of the #MeToo campaign, or in the case of Meryl Streep, give a talk about the plight of Native Americans, or one thing or the other. Global warming usually plays a role. But can you imagine, they always get a standing ovation and they're always hailed as lovely, aren't they? But can you imagine if anyone ever stood up and said anything positive about Donald Trump, for example, or even expressed, even privately in one of their little exclusive Hollywood parties, to express any kind of positive attitude about Trump, or then said something about Brexit, for example, you'd be hounded out of the room. And actually, these very people that are woke enough to want to be promoting this free speech and everything are suppressing it themselves. That's my rant over with. Interesting comment on Twitter from the Bratchler, who obviously isn't someone who minces their words. Ramonas, just one word. I mean, yeah. There definitely are Ramonas. They're people who just deny all economic reality in terms of the Project Fear conspiracy theory being proven completely wrong, in terms of the Russian conspiracy theory being proven to be completely wrong, and in terms of the sort of unification now of views that actually we don't want to abandon Brexit. Very few people now want to abandon it. And yes, I agree, Ramonas are in complete denial. Jane Lombard here. Thank you very much, Jane. Just saying, funnily enough, I'm on the tube on my way to see a West End show. I know quite a few performers who absolutely keep their views quiet. It's like McCarthyism in reverse. And that's it, isn't it, Jane? That's not good though, is it? No, it's not good. In an early tolerant society, you should be able to put out your political views and not expect that level of... Absolutely. And this is the beautiful thing now. People are campaigning for your views to be heard and everything, but actually they will want to silence you if your views aren't the right kind of views. And you're absolutely right, Jane. It's a terrible state of affairs. Now, we do like to mix it up, guys. Do keep your comments coming in. If you're enjoying it, give us a like on Facebook, retweet on Twitter. We like to mix it up a bit on Westminster. We like to talk about the issues we think are important, and if you've watched one of these streams before, you will know the issue of ring girls is very close to my heart. The whole idea now that we're moving backwards as a society and our culture, right? No, we can't have promotional girls at events, and you can't say this, and you can't have that. I think it's this very slippery slope. And so we've got Cal Salland, who's a boxing promoter. He's basically interviewed about this whole thing, about the idea of ring girls being taken down, saying that when it came to the idea that it's any way sexist, I've never heard so much crap in my life. Clearly a man after my own heart there. He's just saying, under what logic can a woman dressed up nicely in a very classy outfit walking around, how can that be sexist? These are young, pretty women making good money, independent, they love their jobs. They've come out time and again now and said they get sick to the back teeth of so-called sort of feminist, well, they call themselves feminists, but they're actually trying to put other women out of jobs there, which is a disgrace. The whole snobbery aspect, I think, is a disgrace. And it's good to see Cal Salland's one, Frank Warren was another, boxing promoters in the boxing industry, refusing to bow down, refusing to kowtow to this whole politically correct agenda now. Well, you can't say anything controversial, you can't do anything controversial, you can't have anything that's a bit cheeky. I mean, for God's sake, Pamela even had a cheeky little elf with a few sexual innuendos. That's now been banned. I mean, where does this end? You just ban anything that's a bit cheeky, anything that's banter, you end up this mundane, treacherous society. Treacherous? That's the word, I'll go with that. But actually, I think the main point is that people, and one thing that people are very afraid to say to these people is that actually they are in a minority. So the people that are really trying to oppress, and actually, for example, well, it looks a bit like modern day feminism actually basically involves trying to put a load of women out of work, to be honest. But so Good Morning Britain did a poll about grid girls, the F1 grid girls, which of course we've seen them sacked off and replaced with grid kids, which is all a bit weird. Big thumbs down for me, that one, I'm afraid. 89% of people that took part in that poll nationwide were against the banning of these girls. So, unfortunately, we're in a position in society now where we can't just say to these people, actually, look, I'm sorry, you corduroy-clad, privately educated feminazi, you busted that one out a few times, haven't you? You are in a significant, a very, very small minority, and you are trying to impose your views onto mainstream society, and there is no place for them. Or simply shut up. No, but you're not allowed to say that to these people, and that's a real shame. Yeah, we've got a few comments coming in now on Facebook. Jane there, my daughter is about to start a degree course in musical theatre, and she agrees she's with me right now.
See, it's very interesting, isn't it? People now feel if you're on the Brexit side, that you or the Leave side, you somehow have to hide your political beliefs.
Here's one as well from Peter Coppin. Let's have grid guys. Now it's interesting actually because BuzzFeed ran an article. BuzzFeed ran an article the other day about literally analysing who had the best bulge at the Winter Olympics.
How progressive is that?
Yeah. Which also, I'd like to point out, I don't give a shit about. It's fine. As a bloke, I don't really care about all that. But can you imagine if the Mail had run a story about who's got the best tit? I mean, come on, it's mental, isn't it?
Darren Sansom on YouTube saying, the celebrities that come out and back Brexit are the salt of the earth in my eyes. Sick and tired of hearing them bash Trump and Brexit. We need to show these numpties by stop to see their film. And I certainly see a lot in America now, where they have these, basically, these award ceremonies, and they all go up, they all bash Trump, and they've all missed it, haven't they? They've missed what's going on in their country. They're so out of touch now. That's why a lot of people didn't see, sort of commentariat, didn't see things like Brexit coming, didn't see things like Trump coming, because they're within a bubble. They like to think of themselves, a lot of these people, as some sort of elevated, liberal, mega informed, mega well educated, woke, sort of in touch individuals. And in reality, they're within their own bubble that's increasingly at odds with what your man on the street thinks.
And it's a refusal to actually accept or engage with what anyone else on the street thinks that really, really grinds my gears. You know, it's not just it's this level of arrogance that comes with it. It's not just if I've got this completely secular view that I've formed based on the fact that I'm speaking to all my celebrity friends and no one else. It's that if you ever go up to them and just offer any kind of other view whatsoever, they just lose their shit, don't they?
Interesting from Chris Howes on Facebook here saying Mo22 from MotoGP, they've had female riders in past with grid guys already done.
Yeah, brilliant.
Good. I don't give a monkeys, to be honest. Like, let these people, if you're not breaking the law, just get on with it. Crack on. Grid guys, grid girls, whatever. At the end of the day, it's people trying to earn a pound note, but it's the snobs that are trying to put people out of work because they don't like it. And the funny thing is, how many of these frumpy people actually watch boxing? Yeah. Actually watch these things? They don't. They just bitch and complain about it without any clue.
But it's where does this end as well? We're basically now being dictated what we can and cannot class as entertainment by this weird little subsect of people. Now, personally, I think the idea of sitting in your bedroom with a headset on playing World of Warcraft against a middle-aged Japanese man is pretty weird and probably not that good for your health. But
that's what I was doing last night, funnily enough.
But who am I to tell you not to do it? Crack on. Each to their own. I don't need, for example, one of these, people coming out and telling me that, I'm not allowed to look at grid girls, or I'm not allowed to watch a certain type of films, or I'm not allowed to have a certain type of political views. No, I'm sorry, that's not the way the world works.
Yeah, and guys, if you're enjoying this, if you're enjoying a little conversation, do dive in with your comments, do give us a retweet, do like us on Facebook, and you're going to not want to miss what we've got coming up. Keep your eyes on westmonster.com because we've got lots of stuff coming up. These streams are going to go to a whole new level, as I keep saying soon, but it is going to happen very, very soon. So you will see something else.
Yes.
And, sign up as well.
Absolutely. If you are watching us on Facebook, you can now see on our website there's a little button towards the top of your screen that says sign up, and you will get the best of Westmonster in your inbox every single day.
How could you possibly say no to that?
Well, absolutely.
How could you say that? Right, the last story we're just going to go to today, and it's a really interesting story actually, is President Macron, who we've long debunked as the sort of EU establishment poodle. He's actually caused a bit of a stir in France with some of the things he's done. And the latest of which is he's bringing back national service. He wants to bring back national service, Patrick. I think, was it for a month?
Yeah. So crucially as well, this one, for the feminists, it is gender neutral, so you'd be pleased to know that every single person now apparently in France is going to be made to do some point in the future, is going to be made to do 1 month of national service. And one of the main reasons that Macron is doing this is to promote social cohesion and patriotism, because obviously society seems to be becoming more and more secular, and there's obviously the migrant crisis has fueled this a lot, among other things. We're just more of a multicultural, diverse society, so that can in itself breed division. So what he's obviously going for here is, well, look, if we all have to club together, people from different races, religions, social classes, dynamics, etc., will be put in this melting pot for a month of national service. And I can see that, actually, to be perfectly honest with you. It's not something I'd devoted a huge amount of time thinking on until yesterday when this story broke. But I'm all right with it.
Well, Tannis ain't a fan. Tannis says Macron is moaning at Merkel's puppet.
Well, you might be right, mate, but I think he's probably right about this, personally.
So you're a fan of
that? Yeah.
So I'll tell you what, so we caused a little bit of a stir on Twitter yesterday, Westminster. We did a poll on, would you support the reintroduction of national service? We had over 7,600 people voted. It was going back and forth. There was interesting
completely.
debates going on within it, and 55% said yes, 45% say no. Now, it's obviously highly unscientific. This is people that follow us. But we do like to hear from you guys. We do like to know what you're thinking. And the fact that 55% in a poll of 7,600 on Twitter back it shows that there's a degree of support.
Chris Southern's got in touch to say a month, it should be 2 years. And Amanda as well saying we need national service back in this country. And you know, from my perspective on it, again, you know, I've not devoted a huge amount of thought to it until maybe last night when this Macron story broke. But I thought, you know, look, at the minute, if you've got people that are unemployed or perhaps struggling with their education and this, that and the other, or maybe, for example, struggling with a lack of fitness as well as one thing, or a lack of personal organisation, the military could be a good place for you to go and get a window into that type of world and way of life. Interesting comment
from, we're just going to wrap up now, but interesting comment from Steve on Twitter saying, bollocks, training for the EU Army. Now that is something I actually thought of. When you look at the sort of push for a full United States of Europe, full EU army, and then you start talking about things like national service and all the rest of it, it is quite interesting. I think that certainly the military aspect of the European Union, the development moving forward, is something that's going to become under increasing scrutiny. I think it's going to become an increasingly big part of what the European Union becomes, because they are desperate, absolutely desperate, to try and stay relevant, and they think that this is their way, with the whole Russian bogeyman thing going on. Well, if we can get a bit of military power, it gives them a bit of clout, and they're trying to create the United States of Europe, and it's very clear. Juncker wants a European Defence Union by 2025.
I mean, so a lot of people are getting in touch now. Leslie Parry saying she's not sure a month is long enough. It would give people pride in this country, you know. And I look at it, I think for a lot of people, especially at the age of 15 and 16, say, you know, maybe if your prospects aren't too great. One thing I think historically that was always good about the British military was that it was there for you, and that it actually can straighten out a lot of people. And frankly, there's a lot of people that have gone on to have very distinguished military careers, quite possibly otherwise would have ended up unemployed and or in prison if the military had not been there for them. And I look at it now and I think, you know, really I think this is maybe a good opportunity to instill a bit more national pride, a bit more patriotism, and maybe actually break down some of the barriers in society. I think national service is a discussion to be had.
Well, guys, on that bombshell, thank you very much for joining us. As I say, we had a quick run through there. Stay tuned to Westminster because we've got a lot coming up. As I say, go and check out our sexy little new website, westminster.com. Like us on Facebook, retweet us and follow us on Twitter, because you're not going to want to miss what is coming up very, very soon. We will see you then.
Take care, guys.